All right, let's talk about something that gets in the way for so many of us at work: anxiety. But we're not just going to talk about, coping strategies. No, we're going to get into how you can actually change how your brain responds to fear at a fundamental level. So let's dive right in.
Okay, right off the bat, I want you to get something in your head. What's that one thing at work that you just avoid? You know the one. Maybe it's a big presentation or that tough conversation you know you need to have. The thing that makes your stomach do a little flip just thinking about it. Do you have it? Okay, good. Because that specific fear, that's our starting point.
So, when you dodge that thing you're dreading, what happens? Ah, sweet, sweet relief, right? Your brain basically high fives itself and goes, phew, dodged a bullet. Let's definitely do that again next time. But here's the kicker, the trap. Every time we avoid something that feels dangerous but is actually safe, we're basically training our brain to believe it was a real threat. And that's how the anxiety cycle starts. Our world just gets smaller and smaller.
But here's the good news. You are not stuck in that cycle, not at all. We can actually teach our brains a totally new way to react. And this isn't just wishful thinking. It's backed by some incredible science. It turns out your brain has this superpower. And that superpower is called neuroplasticity. It's a fancy word for a mind-blowing idea. Your brain can literally rewire itself. Think about that. The things you do, the way you think, it can physically change the structure of your brain. This is way beyond just thinking positive. It's about actually building new roads in your mind. You are literally the architect of your brain. So how do we use this superpower against anxiety? Well, it's pretty simple, but not necessarily easy. You have to do the exact opposite of what your fear is screaming at you to do. Instead of running away, you turn around and you gradually, step by step, face it. This is how you give your brain new evidence. It's how you prove to it, through real experience, that you're actually okay. Okay, so what does that actually look like? Let's break it down into a simple 3-step action plan to get you started on that rewiring process.
All right, step one is simple. Learn to tell the difference between a real tiger and a paper tiger. Is this a real danger, like standing on the edge of a cliff? Or is it a perceived danger, like public speaking? Once you know it's just a paper tiger, you move to step two. You don't try to fight the whole thing at once. You just tear off a tiny corner. Face the fear in super small, manageable chunks. So instead of a keynote, maybe you just ask one question in the next team meeting. And step three, and this part is crucial, you just have to survive it. Seriously, the goal isn't to be perfect, it's just to get through it. Because when you do, you give your brain this brand new piece of data that says, hey, I did that scary thing, and I'm still here, I'm safe.
Okay, but listen, this kind of work, it takes energy. You need a stable foundation to do it. Think about it. Trying to face your fears when your work environment or your relationships are a total mess, it's like trying to heal a broken leg while you're running a marathon. It's just not going to work. So to create that safe space for yourself to grow, you've got to protect your process. And that begins with one word: boundaries. Yeah, because when those dynamics are unhealthy, when you're all tangled up with other people's feelings, what we call enmeshment, it's almost impossible to make progress. You know that feeling of, oh, I can't speak my mind in this meeting because what if my boss gets upset? When you're in that place, your own growth gets put on the back burner. You have to be able to draw a line and say, those are your feelings and these are mine. And this slide really breaks it down perfectly. On one side, you've got enmeshment. That's where you have tons of empathy but really low boundaries. You feel responsible for how everyone else feels. But the goal, where we want to get to, is interdependence. See the difference? You still have that high empathy, but you also have high boundaries. You're only responsible for your own emotions. You can be supportive, you can be connected, but you're not all tangled up. That is the solid ground you need to stand on to do this work. So let's wrap this up with the most important takeaway. The whole point of all this, it's not about making anxiety disappear forever. I mean, come on, that's not going to happen. The goal is so much more powerful. It's about getting to a place where anxiety is no longer in the driver's seat. And I really want this to sink in. It is perfectly okay to feel anxious. Anxiety is just information, right? It's a signal, a loud, really annoying signal sometimes, but it is not your boss. You can feel all that fear and still choose your actions. You get to decide what you do no matter how you feel. Your actions are yours. So let's circle all the way back to the beginning. That fear you pictured, what is one tiny, almost laughably small step you can take tomorrow to face it? I'm not talking about conquering it, just facing it.
Because that one small choice, that's the first thread in rewiring your brain. That's how you start to take back the controls. The choice, as always, is yours.